During our family dinner with my parents and sister, my wife's phone rang and a man's voice said, "Hey babe, are we still on for the cabin this weekend?" She immediately hung up and told everyone wrong number. I don't know who that was. When I asked to see her phone, she refused and said I was being paranoid and controlling. Then I pulled out something that made her face go completely white. I turned to address my parents and sister. "I'm sorry you had to witness this, but I think it's important that everyone understands what's been happening." I opened the folder on my phone and began showing the evidence I'd compiled. Text messages between Lauren and Derek discussing their training sessions that were clearly sexual encounters. Derek, "Can't wait for our session tomorrow. I've been thinking about you all day." Lauren, "Me too. Austin thinks I'm getting in great shape, thanks to you. If only he knew what kind of workout we're really doing." Photos that Lauren had sent to Derek showing her in lingerie with captions like, "What do you think of my new outfit? And wish you were here instead of my husband." Location data showing that Lauren had been at Derek's apartment during times when she told me she was meeting with design clients or shopping for project materials. Call logs showing daily phone conversations between Lauren and Derek, some lasting over an hour, including calls made from our house while I was at work and the kids were napping. Calendar entries in Lauren's phone for training sessions that were actually hotel reservations and weekend getaways, including the cabin reservation Derek had just called about. "Lauren," I said, my voice remarkably steady despite the adrenaline coursing through my body, "would you like to explain to my family why you've been lying to me for 2 months about where you've been and who you've been with?" Lauren's strategy was to continue denying and deflecting. "Austin, you're taking things out of context. Derek is my trainer, and yes, we text about fitness goals and nutrition plans." I showed my phone to my parents and sister so they could see the evidence themselves. My mother read one of the text messages and handed the phone back to me with a disgusted expression. "Lauren," my father said quietly, "those messages aren't about fitness. And these photos certainly aren't about exercise routines," Rebecca added. Lauren realized that denial wasn't working, so she shifted to blame. "Austin, our marriage has been struggling for months. You work constantly, you're always tired when you come home, and we barely have any time together as a couple. So you decided to have an affair instead of talking to me about feeling neglected?" I asked. "I tried to talk to you, but you always said you were too stressed or too busy." I pulled up another folder on my phone. "Actually, Lauren, I have records of our conversations too. You never once mentioned feeling neglected or unhappy in our marriage. In fact, 3 weeks ago you told me how grateful you were for my support of your career and how lucky you felt to have me as a partner." I showed her a screenshot of a text message she'd sent me just 2 weeks earlier. "Thank you for handling bedtime tonight so I could work late. I'm so lucky to have a husband who supports my dreams. Love you." "Lauren," my mother said, her voice shaking with disappointment, "how could you do this to Austin and the children?" "Mom, you don't understand how hard it's been," Lauren said, starting to cry. "Austin works all the time, I'm stuck at home with 2 small children, and I felt like I was losing myself." "So you found yourself in another man's bed?" Rebecca asked bluntly. "It's not that simple," Lauren protested. "Derek makes me feel alive again. He makes me feel like a woman instead of just a mom and a wife." I closed my phone and looked directly at Lauren. "How long were you planning to continue this affair?" "Austin, can we please discuss this privately?" "I think we're past privacy at this point," I said. "You've been lying to me for 2 months, you just lied to my family about not knowing Derek, and you're still trying to manipulate the situation instead of taking responsibility for your choices." That's when Lauren's phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it, and her face turned even whiter. "What does it say?" I asked. "Nothing important," she mumbled. I held out my hand.